Racism against white people. Is it a real issue or just a distraction from deeper structural racism? Today in our debate, we will explore arguments from both sides of this controversial topic. Corey Wallace, a white man unemployed, believes he has been negatively affected by affirmative action policies. Imani Green, a black journalist who argues that racism without structural power is prejudice, not racism. Today we discuss whether racism against white people is a valid issue or just an attempt to deflect from the real structural racism problem. Let's start with opening statements.
I know that racism against white people isn't something most people talk about, but I've experienced it firsthand. I've been rejected from several job interviews because of affirmative action. They choose people from other racial backgrounds, even though my qualifications are better.
With all due respect, Corey, that's not racism. Racism involves not just prejudice, but also structural power. When affirmative action was introduced, the goal was to correct historical inequalities. The fact that you were rejected doesn't mean there's an oppressive system against you. It's an attempt to level the playing field.
I understand what you're saying, but I feel like affirmative action is creating a type of reverse racism. I've lost opportunities because I'm white, and that's just not fair.
You're confusing discrimination with racism. Discrimination can happen to anyone, but what distinguishes racism is the institutionalized power that affects historically oppressed groups. That's not the case for white people.
I get that you say racism is structural, but what about individual cases? We can't ignore the suffering of white people who are discriminated against because of their race.
It's important to look at the context. Society still hasn't acknowledged the racial suffering of black people on an equal scale. Discrimination that you face is painful, but it doesn't reflect the systemic oppression that black communities experience.
Now, let's dive deeper into structural racism, analyzing the historical context of how public policies have shaped racial inequality.
To me, racism is about discrimination, and discrimination against white people is becoming a growing issue that we need to start acknowledging.
Yes, discrimination can happen to anyone, but that shouldn't distract us from the bigger issue: systemic racism that deeply affects black communities and other minorities.
I get that historical issues are important, but we have to look at the present and recognize that anyone, regardless of their color, can be a victim of discrimination.
Yes, discrimination can happen to anyone, but this shouldn't distract us from the bigger issue: systemic racism that deeply impacts historically oppressed communities.
The debate on racism against white people is complex, and as we've seen, there are different perspectives on what constitutes racism and how it affects different groups. While some see it as a real issue, others argue that it should not distract from the larger problem of structural racism that continues to affect marginalized communities. The conversation continues. What do you think? Is racism against white people a real issue, or is it a distraction? What needs to change for us to live in a more just society? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe for more debates like this. We want to hear from you. If you liked this video, share it with your friends and help spread the conversation about what truly matters. Together, we can better understand the complex issues shaping our society. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Until the next debate.